Welcome to a very, very sad episode of Dummies on the Hardwood. If only we had a little violin, unfortunately, to play. Oh, wait. Gentlemen, I think it's time to call it quits. This is
Wait, are we quitting the podcast?
No, we're not
Bro,
quitting
you
that.
had me worried for a second, bro. Hold up.
This is the official/unofficial death and funeral of the Philadelphia 76ers. And it all begins back in 2014 when Joel Embiid was drafted. A kid out of Cameroon who had played basketball really late. The Sixers took a chance on him. Started off with foot injuries, but he had so much potential. So much potential.
Where are we going with this, bro? No, Isaac, I like your monologue. Keep going.
There's so much potential. He was supposed to be teamed up with Ben Simmons. We all know how that worked out. They traded for Tobias Harris. We all know how that worked out. We all know they traded for Jimmy Butler. We all know how that worked out. Do you see an recurring theme? Just supposed to work out. But things just don't work out. Can someone answer me that question? Why they don't work out?
Well, when you had a couple of years where you could have taken Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and could have had Ime Udoka as your coach, you know.
Thank you for reminding me. They also drafted Markelle Fultz and traded a pick to Boston in order to get Jason Tatum, one of the worst trades ever.
17.
So fumble after fumble after fumble. And
was it Elton Brand? I think the GM at the time.
Elton Brand. And then Elton Brand did all these moves, Joel Embiid. But a recurring thing was Embiid was always hurt. Some sort of freak accident always happened. And there was always, if he's healthy. And we stand here today after reading a report and an announcement that Joel Embiid will not be out for the season. Again.
I could have told you that a million miles away. And I believe we mentioned that in a previous episode too.
I mean, is this any different at all? Or is there anything that we're surprised by with this at all? Anyone?
First of all, Isaac, thank you for the monologue, bro. You had me lost and twisted for a few seconds, but I kind of knew where you were going with it. For Philly, I mean, it's got to be downright one of the worst fucking seasons, that as a fan I've seen,
Thank you for going into that, because I'm about to go into their damn payroll. Joel Embiid makes about $51 million. He's guaranteed $227 million over the next 5 years. Then you got Podcast P.
Not even playoff
Podcast P. There's not Pandemic P. There's no more playoff P. It's just Podcast P.
George
making
Paul.
$154 million over the next 4 years.
He's not Paul George. He's George Paul.
That's pretty much like half their cap. And then the rest are like minimum contracts. You got Andre Drummond, 2 years, $10 million. Kelly Oubre, 2 years. You got Jared McCain, but nothing else noticeable. But let's continue with this timeline. So this offseason, they did sign Paul George. Podcast P. I'm not even going to call him Paul George anymore because he don't deserve that. Podcast P himself decided to sign with Philadelphia. Then just a few days before this podcast, like, I'm going to take time so we can focus winning on a championship. What have you been smoking?
When I saw that, when I said that, I told Bennie, I was like, am I really seeing this right now? He said I'm focusing on a championship. Bro, you had the whole fucking season to focus on a championship.
Where was this energy?
Why now?
Where was this energy when you were with the Clippers, bro? Where was this energy?
May I remind you, gentlemen, he had a podcast thumbnail talking about the drama going inside their very damn locker room, breaking NBA team unwritten rules.
Focus on getting subs rather than focusing on the team.
I don't blame him, but At least Draymond keeps it real. Draymond, I like his podcast. He keeps it real. Like, we weren't focused, but he's not here making excuses like, oh, I'm going to focus back on basketball.
But he's not sitting here talking about everybody's business out loud.
So, but that's all of a sudden you're like, oh, podcast P family, I'm going to take a break, focus on my health. So what have you been focusing this whole year? More on subscribers? More likes? More dislikes? Shares? Clicks?
If you listen to podcast P, you need to come listen to Dummies on the Hardwood. That's what you really need to listen to. Man, damn all that. Yeah, because, bro, like, this whole damn year, you just decide to focus on, like, oh, my God, we got to win a chip. You guys are 12th in the East. You ain't coming out of that. You ain't winning a chip. And with your damn rosters constructed, you ain't winning shit for the next few years,
and I'm going to be honest with you. When the season started, I don't think we had Philadelphia as a 12th.
I honestly thought they were going to be better than this.
I thought they were going to be a minimum top 5 seed out East.
Should have been better.
I thought they were a minimum top 5 seed out East.
But then going back to the timeline, Joel Embiid, if he was only healthy, how many times have we heard? If Paul George was healthy. If Paul George was healthy, what? If Joel Embiid was healthy, what? If Kawhi Leonard doesn't sink the shot, do they win a title? What?
Oh, by the way, I have to make this one comment, though. Just talk about Kawhi Leonard real quick. I saw that game against the Clippers. He looked like a shell of himself. I'm just going to say for what it is.
Against the Lakers, you mean?
Yeah, against the Lakers, he looked like a shell of himself, man. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. It's safe to say that, the whole thing is a complete flop for the Clippers and Paul George. Could we argue? Listen up, guys. Could we make this definitive statement? The Philadelphia 76ers are washed, obviously. Is Podcast P washed? Yes or no, Isaac?
Yes, he's washed. He's not even Podcast P. He's washed up P. That's about it.
Yeah, I really think he's washed. I think he's more focused on subscribers. Like, put it like this. I mean, you go to your hometown team, the Los Angeles Clippers. You play there for 4 years, and you don't do jack shit for them. You were supposed to team up with Kawhi Leonard and supposedly beat the Los Angeles Lakers. And the Clippers did. The Clippers own the Lakers. But the bottom line is, you left your hometown team because you didn't get the contract you wanted, and you went all the way out east to the Philadelphia 76ers, where you were supposed to be the number one option when Joel Embiid was out.
He's been getting hurt all too long,
man. You had Tyrese Maxey, number 1, Paul George, number 2, excuse me. And you go out there, and you're out there focused on your podcast. It just tells me that his focus is not on basketball. It's focused on the podcast, which is fine. If you want to focus on your podcast, focus on your podcast.
Yeah.
Focus on your podcast. But don't go out sitting out here and blow smoke up our ass and think we don't know what's going on, because we know what's going on. You're not focused on basketball. Bro. Just say it, bro.
Yeah, look, man, he ain't even Paul George no more. He ain't Podcast P. He Kaiser P. Because all he do is get hurt, and all he do is do nothing but provide no value to any team he go to except when he was in Indiana. That's all he did, bro.
Because think about it like this. If you were so focused on winning a championship, why are you prioritizing your podcast more than you are your game? And you talking about like you wanted to win with the Clippers. I didn't see that.
Look, we've talked about this zillions of times with players these days. It's like they don't want to work hard no more. What's the incentive to work hard, right? Like, you get the bag, okay, great. Look at what Paul George is doing. He's got a big following. It's Paul fucking George. I get it, but bro, like, your game is not matching up to your podcast. And I'm sorry, bro. You've been washed for the last 4 years.
Might as well call him
what it is.
Might as well call him preseason P, because all this bull crap starts in the preseason.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're not. I mean, Paul George is a way better player than what he's been showing. Just being real, he's way better than
he is, man.
He's way better than
we need Indiana P, bro.
But all he's doing right now is just making excuses for his team. Oh, no, you're not fucking playing. That's the bottom line. You suck right now.
There's no accountability. There's no accountability. There's no leadership.
Don't say you're gonna focus on a championship and then go out there and then work on your podcast. If you want to be a full-time podcaster, be a full-time podcaster. It's fine, dude. But stop blowing smoke up your fans' ass. Stop saying what people want to hear. People want to hear. The Sixers want to hear that championship. But we can see through your actions that you don't care.
Yep.
You don't care. Just admit it. It's fine. It's fine. But you gotta learn to take accountability.
I think that's what's going on. See that's what's going on in Philly. There's nobody who's leading the ship. Who's the leader on that team? No one's the leader on that team. I can't think of a leader on the Philadelphia 76ers. It's supposed to be Joel Embiid, but he's hurt.
I mean, this goes back to a few months ago. Remember Tyrese Maxey called him out for not being on time to practice?
Always being late, yeah.
It sucks, man. Tyrese Maxey got to get thrown into this role, man. It's like he literally out here just breaking his back every fucking game, doing his best to help the team win.
Literal only bright spot of this, not the literal only bright spot, but one of the bright spots is Tyrese Maxey this season. He's been putting up 26 points per game. And, he's going out there and doing his thing. The last game against the, who they play last game?
I think
the Warriors. They played the Warriors last game, and he struggled. Last night, I believe. He struggled against the Warriors. But the guy's going out there, and he's playing his heart out every single game. And Jared McCain's your other bright spot. You had it. That's a talented rookie. Unfortunately, he's out for the season. Philly had two bright spots this whole season.
The only bright spots.
Joel Embiid and Paul George. It's unfortunate with Joel Embiid, but I could have seen this a mile away.
Okay, so all right, so I'm gonna pose this question. So what do you guys think the future holds for the Philadelphia 76ers?
I mean, it's not bright because I was reading this article via, let me get the source, theinquirer.com. He's been through a lot of surgeries, but he might add one of them. You guys heard of meniscus replacement?
Nope. Yeah, I'm very familiar with that.
You know who got meniscus replacement? Lonzo Ball. He's doing great, but he took his health seriously. But Joel Embiid might be looking into that, low-dose radiation therapy, or even, have you guys ever heard of osteotomy?
Nope.
So it's a process in which the doctors break a bone in the hip to realign the joint to alleviate pressure. Yeah. But that takes about 6 months to a year to heal. So he would be out another year.
And there's different things you got to consider. I mean, Joel Embiid's a big dude. I mean, you got to consider the recovery and the timeline and all that shit. So I get where that's coming from.
And really quick, doctors with whom the Inquirer spoke over the past week say that some of these procedures require 6 months to a year before an athlete can return to full action. And any return will invariably come with long-term limitations. I mean,
so at this point, is what I'm hearing is it's either focus on the short term, get on the court, but long term you're gonna face some health issues with your knee, is what I'm hearing.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that's basically. So at this point, man, I mean, like, so what? I mean, if you're asking me, to be honest, with the direction that Philly's going, if I'm Joel Embiid, look, like you paid him all this money, but I did see this article that they are looking for a way in which the Sixers can
medically disqualify him.
Yeah,
medically retire him. God forbid. We only want Embiid to be healthy and live a comfortable life after.
He's a talented man. He's a talented.
And let's go back in the time machine for a minute and think about when Joel Embiid was on the court. The dude was in the talks for MVP.
Arguably top 5 player in the league.
One of the top 3 centers in the league.
Arguably.
Top 3 centers in the league. Unfortunately, his Philadelphia 76ers, the furthest they've gotten was the conference finals where they lost on a buzzer beater to...
No, it was the second round.
No, it was
Kawhi Leonard.
No, they did lose to the
They lost to the Raptors in the conference finals.
It was Kawhi's only...
I thought it was the Bucks. They faced the Bucks after. Wasn't it?
No. The Bucks were the second round.
Bucks were second round. Yeah.
That was 2019.
I have to check. I don't think he's ever been past the second round.
Yeah. Conference finals.
They lost in the conference finals to Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah, I remember that. Anyway, yeah, it's
unfortunate. So let's not forget about what Joel Embiid's impact was on the court. He had a profound impact with the Philadelphia 76ers. Him and Ben Simmons for those several years through the early 2020s. They were a pretty good team. They were. It's unfortunate, and then when Ben Simmons refused to take that shot against the Atlanta Hawks, that's when everything started to sink down.
I can confirm this. He never made it to the conference finals.
They never made it to the
never made it to the conference finals.
So that shot was in the semifinals then.
It had to have been a semifinal.
Okay, then I was wrong. Okay.
Anyway, yeah, it
took accountability, unlike Paul George.
And Benny over here.
Don't stop it, man. Look. All I'm saying for the for Philly, I feel really bad for Joel Embiid. You know what I mean?
do too.
He like I said, this dude he's one of those dudes where if he just had a Jason Tatum, if he had a Jaylen Brown, he had those 2 picks, literally those 2 picks back to back, 16 and 17. If he had those 3 with him, the Sixers, we wouldn't even be in this conversation about Philadelphia. We'd be like, Philly's pretty good. They probably already had a ring already. They're good. Boston would probably be struggling. You know, they don't have their picks, right? That's a conversation we'd be having.
I mean, we have to look at how many All-Stars he's played with, though.
But that's what I'm saying, though. But dude, Joel Embiid is...
Let's rattle this off. Ben Simmons, Jimmy Butler, James Harden. I feel like I'm missing someone.
No, you're wrong. No, you're wrong.
Blank.
Yeah, but he's had some solid supporting cast, but he gets injured at some point or he shrinks.
Can Joel Embiid carry a team? Yes or no?
I mean, based on his playoff history,
I'm gonna say no.
Really.
He can't.
No.
Regular season, yeah. Playoffs, no.
So this is how for me. I was speaking to Benny about this a while ago, but I categorize players like this. You always have your top guy, and then you have your second best players on the team. Joel Embiid is better as a second option. He needs like a LeBron James, a Giannis, or maybe like who else? You could say Jokic, Luka, Jokic, someone like that. And then you got your second tier stars. Anthony Davis, Kyrie Irving, Paul George. They can be on the second team.
Whoa, slow down that Paul George. He's not in that tier. Hold up. Mr. No PT.
But Paul George, I'm just being real. He's a good player, but he's a second option on a team. And that's what I'm saying. You need to have your number 1 and your number 2.
But the thing is with Paul George, he's been through so many injuries, man. If we can get NDP back, Indy Paul George, man, that dude was a bucket.
I don't know if we're gonna get NDP back, but
I mean, we probably won't. But I mean, like, it's just wishful thinking.
This dude,
he's averaging 17 points on 43% from the field, and he's shooting 36% from 3.
That's not bad.
He's only played 40 games. 40 games.
Damn, bro. Yeah, man. I mean, his injuries history, he don't have a clean bill of health, man.
So what do you guys think what do you think are the struggles for Paul George this season? What do you think are
not podcasting?
I mean, I just think that, obviously, I feel like injuries do have a role. Like, if we take the bullshit and the bias out of it and the podcasting out of it, let's be real, the injuries are going to slow anybody down. They're going to slow any player down. But also, too, I feel like, his podcasting, it's doing well. Like, by the way, it's doing really well. I just feel like he's not taking the game as serious as, as like us fans want to see. You know what I mean? He's not, granted, like, we literally give him our money for him to go out and ball out, right? That's literally all of our money and all of Philly's money. And Philly fans, they're not getting a return on their investment. They're probably pissed the fuck off. It's like, dude, we signed you for this much money and you can't even fucking stay healthy. Granted, it's only 1 year. We don't know next year. But if the same shit continues, I'm just saying, history tends to repeat itself, right? So we get the same thing next year. Philly probably signed. That's probably one of the worst signings in Philadelphia 76ers history, right? I would not even say Joel Embiid is a bad signing because Joel Embiid, you can justify paying him $200 million. Was it $120 million? It's a gamble paying someone that much money versus someone who's unproven, who can't carry a team. So look.
I think it's a combination of factors with the Philadelphia 7 with Paul George, focusing on the podcast, but also too, he hyperextended the same knee twice. I mean, okay, maybe you could throw that out there. So maybe it's some of the injuries,
leg day,
and maybe it's focusing on the podcast. So it's a combination of things. Maybe there's something else going on in his life that we don't know about. We just don't know. But the bottom fucking line is we can all agree that Paul George is playing like absolute crap.
Here's what I think. Here's my theory on what I feel about this. I feel like with what's going on with Paul George and his struggles is because the thing is, when he was in with the Clippers, what's the one thing we harped on him for? Everybody harped on him for?
Leading a team.
Yeah. His inability to lead a team. Right? So his thought process was like, okay, I'm going to be with Joel Embiid. Maybe I can carry the 76ers, right? Maybe he's got that unnecessary added pressure that he's put on himself to want to carry the Sixers, but he's not living it. Think about it. When Paul George was in Indiana, who did he have?
Nobody.
Roy Hibbert. He had Danny Granger. He had George Hill. Those basketball early in those playoff days against the Heat and stuff. Paul George carried that team, right? So I think if we look at his totality, I feel like his injuries definitely slowed him down because before he got hurt, when he was in Indiana, he was not putting up these numbers. He damn near wasn't putting up these numbers. He was putting up at least 20, 25 a game, right? We got to take that into account. But also age too, his injury history. I know he had that nasty injury with his ankle. He practically broke his whole lower
leg,
his whole lower leg and stuff like that. So that's something we gotta take into account. I'm not discounting his talent. I'm just discounting the fact that he's not putting his money where his mouth is, and he's not working hard enough.
I'm wondering if there are undefined roles out there in Philly, in terms of who is going to be the leader out there.
That could have been another factor
and
too.
That's what I'm thinking. Because as I'm looking right now at Philadelphia, you can say that the leader right now is Tyrese Maxey.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah, I would argue that. Absolutely.
But I'm wondering, too, if there's some blurred lines in which the general manager told Paul George, hey, we want you to be the leader of the team. Or they may have said, hey, maybe they wanted Tyrese Maxey to be a leader of the team. Maybe there was some kind of, blurred lines in terms of, who's going to be the actual leader on the team, if that makes sense. Because that's
possible.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking because Paul George, let's be real, he's not a leader on the team. No, he's not.
He's second, third fiddle.
Second,
he's
third
more
fiddle.
of a third option.
Tyrese Maxey right now is clearly number one. So I'm wondering if Paul George came in thinking he was gonna be the number one option, and then Tyrese Maxey was like, "No, I'm the number one option." So I don't know.
I can see that, but at the end
I
of
don't
the
know.
day,
I don't know.
Don't lie.
That's just a thought. That's just the thought that I had.
I mean,
don't lie.
this begs the question: if you're the Sixers, what are you gonna do? What do you do? There's there's no possible trade someone's gonna take Embiid the way he is, unless they completely restructure his contract. There's no way in heck someone is gonna take Paul George as well with that contract. The only pieces that you have to trade, which I hate to say it, are Tyrese Maxey and Jared McCain.
It's not gonna happen.
Tyrese
Maxey's not gonna happen. Tyrese Maxey, they're gonna keep Tyrese Maxey. Jared McCain, I think you'd have to really wow the Sixers in order for them to get Jared McCain.
I mean, what? But they went through the process this whole damn time. Do they have to go through another process?
I mean, Tyrese Maxey and Jared McCain. I mean, they're both.
Is this
young
just
players.
the process part 2? Is this the horrible trilogy that's going to happen?
What they need to do, in my opinion, is figure out what they're going to do with Joel Embiid. And
I was about to say, we can't sit here and start predicting the future, what they're going to do, unless we see what Joel Embiid's future is.
And so what I'm thinking is going to happen is Joel Embiid will probably not medically retire. I think he might play in a few years or so. I don't know.
But at that point, it's
at that point, it's then maybe, well, if it's going to be that long, should we just medically retire him?
You might as well at that point because
I think that the Sixers do need to medically retire Joel Embiid.
It's a cold, harsh truth, but he's not going to get any better.
No.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy to think that, I didn't think this knee thing was serious with him, but man, it's really putting him back.
I mean, I give Joel Embiid props because there were a couple years where he played through a meniscus tear in his knee.
I want to give him a lot more credit because he's been getting constant injections in his knees in order to play this season.
So I give Joel Embiid props.
His toughness, I will not doubt. I will never doubt his toughness.
There was also a report that the Sixers were caught off guard with Joel Embiid stating that he might need surgery.
But also, too, I questioned some of his work ethic. You know what I mean? There's some things that
definitely.
I won't question his talent, his hard work, though.
There's a lot of things. I can Like him being able to gut out and play through a knee injury
in the series against
the Knicks, I give you props.
He toughed it out.
I give him props. But there's some questions, about his work ethic, his ability to lead a team. So, there's a combination of things with Joel Embiid.
I feel like if you just put Joel Embiid in the right situation,
But what is the right situation?
Well, I mean, not non-Philly. Well, I mean, look, like, it's too late. Like, if you're not, like Isaac said, you're not going to get anything for Joel Embiid. You'd be foolish enough to trade for him. Personally, he's a high-risk, high-reward player. Yeah, Phoenix would probably do some stupid shit like that. I can see that. Yeah, they probably do something stupid and blow up the whole fucking roster. But there's no one in Phoenix to trade. Really, there's no one. Outside of Beal, Booker, and Durant, but we're not going down that path. I'm just saying, like, if Joel Embiid was put in that situation where he had more talent, like consistent talent, that's the thing. Like, Philly is just like a revolving door, man. Like, you got some star players. You got Harden coming in. You're out. He left. Butler came in. He's gone.
Ben Simmons
was there. He's gone. It's like that. He literally had it all. Like that year, between 2017 and 2019. When they had Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid,
they're really good.
And Daryl Morey before his injuries played him. I mean, they had a solid roster. They had a solid team.
They could have had Jason Tatum.
And the thing, and Jaylen Brown. Like, look, like there's so much things that could have happened with Philly. I think what's going on is like you have to take a look at management from the top. It starts with the management because management, they're the reason why that roster is constructed. Elton Brand was the reason why, Markelle Fultz and Ben Simmons got drafted, not Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum.
But at the same time, too, my point is, how could you have predicted that?
That's my thing. You can't predict it.
Yeah, you can't really predict it. So he chose the best players. He thought it would work, and it didn't work. And now Boston's reaping the benefits of what the Sixers had done.
Boston, if we look at it like this, Boston could have been what Philly should have been. Think about that. Because Philly was supposed to be that top team out east this year. They should have been.
We've had so much negativity on the Sixers. Why don't we go back to Tyrese Maxey and Jared McCain? Because they are literally the two bright spots.
I mean, but also, too, hold up. Before we continue on that path, we cannot forget about Kelly Oubre and his impact he's had on the Sixers.
And that's what we're going to do.
And Quentin Grimes,
and that's what I'm saying. So,
I miss Quentin Grimes.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, the Sixers, they're not all that bad. I mean, you had a starting lineup this season projected to have, Kyle Lowry at the 1, you had Tyrese Maxey, you had Paul George, and then you had possibly, Kelly Oubre at the 4, and then you had Joel Embiid at the 5. And then you had a bench of Caleb Martin. And then who else did you have? Jared McCain.
That was the biggest question this offseason. Can they all stay healthy?
And we figured it out. They couldn't. But I look at those two bright spots as Tyrese Maxey and Jared McCain, and also what you mentioned earlier, Quentin Grimes and Kelly Oubre Jr. Because they've literally been the only players that have been consistent for Philadelphia.
That was a major pickup by Philly to get Quentin Grimes. That's a major pickup. Holy shit.
Yeah, and the Sixers right now, we can talk about all this and that, but Tyrese Maxey is putting up 26 points per game.
We can't forget about the value he brings.
Yeah.
But see, here's my issue with Maxey. You'll see right there, the 26 points per game, looks good on paper. But when you look at some of his games, the thing he struggles with is his consistency.
Because he's carrying the damn whole team on his back.
Yeah, I mean, but we don't want to start, even before that. Right, he's had games where he struggled and stuff like that. He's been inconsistent at times. Right, he disappears. He'll have 0 points by halftime. He'll have let alone 10 points. Right, so I think for me, Tyrese Maxey. I mean, can he carry a team? It's clear as day he can't.
I could see him as a 1B. A 1B.
He's a 1B again. He's a second tier superstar.
And that's why they had Joel Embiid, but it didn't work out. But
you had James Harden too.
Yeah, but didn't work out. But when you have a ball dominant player in James Harden, how many touches are you gonna get? And too, I want to circle back also too to Jared McCain because before he went down with injury, he was, I think, the rookie of the year in my opinion.
Without a doubt.
He had stretches of 20 points per game, man. This dude was a hoop.
He was really helping out those Sixers.
I mean, it's not completely hopeless but for Philly, but just get ready for a few years of possibly play in, not tanking, but playing, possibly first round exits.
Because at this point, because if it's like you were saying,
do not trade picks. Don't do quick fix-its. Don't do it.
Trade Quentin Grimes.
And do not trade for. I feel like Philly will be that. Philadelphia reminds me of the Phoenix Suns of the East. Literally, they'll make boneheaded moves. Like, why trade James Harden for Ben Simmons? It just made no sense. Like, James Harden can't carry your team. Well, it's just my opinion, right? I feel like Philly will pull up some stupid shit like that. Oh, Durant's available this summer. Who should we trade? It's like, no, don't pull the trigger. It's not gonna solve it. Not gonna solve nothing.
It's fair to say that based off this discussion, it's just a lost season for Philadelphia, and maybe for the next few years, possibly first round play-in exit.
Because if Joel.
And again, we don't say this with joy. It's unfortunate. It's really like players like we want an NBA season where it's competitive. We don't want cities to be in shambles like Dallas. Unfortunate players getting injured, what ifs, bad signings. And we don't ever attack personally, so let's just make that clear. We're not like these outlets bringing in families and everything. Yeah. We keep everything.
Yeah, we're not. We don't mean to bash.
We're not saying Paul George or anything, but you're giving us minimal effort at best.
Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, what we're here to do is we're just here to give you what we think, and we're just calling it how it is. Paul George, you're not showing up.
You're not working hard.
Agree, disagree, stay neutral. We're open to your comments. We'll maybe even address it. Sure.
Again, look, it just circling back to the Embiid thing. If he does go through with the surgery, like I said, if he does go, and you say he can't play till 30, I mean, at that point, it's like we said earlier, it's a waste of time. Like, why have him play at 30 when he's got a history of bad knees, and then he's gonna possibly have a bad hip because of that surgery he had. So I think at this point, if this was personally my decision, I would medically, if I'm Philly, I'd medically find a way to medically retire Joel Embiid because it's not worth, him playing any more of his career. And why put the man through more of it? Like he's proven his toughness. He's proven it. He's worked his tail off. He made it to the league. He's done what he needs to do. I'm sorry, it just sucked. It didn't work out. But you got to pull the plug. You got to give the man his flowers. Medically retire him. You start over again. You build around Tyrese Maxey, and you go from there. Yes, you're going to have some struggling years. You're going to have to bite the bullet with PG, and once he leaves, get him out of the books, and then start from scratch.
And we're talking about his livelihood. Isaac, what do you think the Sixers should do with Joel Embiid?
I take no joy, but try and get off his contract. I mean, he's just going to be constantly scrutinized, criticized for not playing this game, not playing that game, not doing this, not doing that. He's been a constant source of media attacks, unfortunately, especially with his family. What kind of medias bring his family into this?
And the thing is, too, man, it's like, can you guys imagine the amount of pain he's going to be in? Sit and think about that for a second. Would we all subject ourselves to that amount of pain? No. All I'm saying is, like, just medically retire the man.
So, Isaac, I'm hearing you're saying that the Sixers need to trade Joel Embiid.
I don't think he'd medically retire him. Like, I don't even think a trade would help him at this point, just for his livelihood. I do think he's still a Hall of Famer at some point in the future, but I don't want him to go out like Greg Oden. I don't want him to be the present day Greg Oden going under the knife constantly and then signing for minimums.
We can say this about Joel Embiid. When he was healthy, we can arguably say he is a top 2 player in this fucking league. I will say that. I'd argue proudly.
Top 5 player in the league.
Well, I would say top 2. With what he's done.
Top 2.
Top 2. Yep.
So
him and Jokic.
Top 2. Are you talking about top 2 bigs or top 2
players?
Top 2
bigs.
All right. Okay. Let's not get into this because I would get. Okay.
So with me, what I'm thinking is I would medically retire Joel Embiid. I'm with you, all you guys. There's no point in having this man to continue to go through what he's been through. He's already proven his toughness. He's taken some criticism, some critiques, and some of them were justified.
I would agree.
But
I agree.
But I think at this point, you just gotta medically retire him. He's not gonna be. playing on two knees, playing on a bad knee for the rest of your life, and then post career you're gonna be walking around with that bad knee. I think it's time to call it a career.
I mean, and regardless, he gets the surgery, he's gonna get criticized. He doesn't get the surgery, he's gonna get criticized. He rests, he's gonna get criticized. He's gonna be constantly criticized for every single little decision, big or small, regardless. And I don't think that man deserves to be constantly criticized at this point in his career.
Yep. Give the man his fucking flowers. Give the man his flowers. Yep. He served the city of brotherly love in Philly. He did what he needed to do. He can't and so Philly fans can't say nothing because he did what he had to do.
And if you boo Joel Embiid, I don't know what to say to you because he brought so much to Philadelphia. Just don't disrespect him.
And again, this is just our own opinions and thoughts on, how we feel. That doesn't mean he's going to go out and medically retire, but this is just what we think he should do. Now, Joel Embiid, he's going to do what he thinks he needs to do, right? If he wants to continue to play, by all means, continue to play. I want to see you succeed. I want to see you be successful, man. Whatever you decide to do, man, just best of luck to you, okay?
Any closing thoughts, gentlemen?
Not really. I think I said what I needed to say, but best of luck to Joel Embiid in whatever decision or whatever route he takes.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, whatever route he decides to take, I want to see 2018, 2019 Joel Embiid just eat. He was up there in the MVP talks. That's the Joel Embiid I want to see.
All right. Well, this concludes the eulogy of the 76ers. I take no joy in ending it like this, but here's a small preview for next week's episode. We're going to be talking about players with the most pressure and what they need to prove in the second half of the season to change up the mood. Let us know who you think's under the most pressure. Give we agree with you. They'll be on our list. I don't know. You guys want to give a shout out to one person you think, just to give a preview to give our viewers next week's insight to who you think's under pressure?
You go first, man.
There's someone on Dallas that I gotta say, Mr. number 11 Kyrie Irving. He's gonna need to step up to the plate. That's all I'm gonna say.
John Morant. Just play straight up, John Morant.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. This is literally make or break for the Thunder, in my opinion.
Yes, sir. Tune in next week, guys.
Yep. And by the way, please follow us on all different platforms: TikToks, YouTube, Spotify, wherever you're at, wherever you are in this world. Continue to show the love for the dummies on the hardwood. We're on Instagram. Follow us. We're all on there. Give us the love. If you know anybody who loves basketball and likes to talk about hoops, the real side of hoops, listen to us. Okay.
And with that being said, thank you for tuning in. Good night, everybody. And good luck, Sixers and Embiid.